it's about. Today, I'm telling you a story about the solar system. In space, the Earth is a planet. It's a huge, round lump of rock floating in space. The Earth is one of the 8 planets that travel around the Sun. The Sun and the planets are called the solar system. This is what Earth looks like in space. What's out there? The planets in the solar system move around the Sun. This is the Sun. This is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and also this dwarf planet Pluto. Pieces of rock called asteroids travel around the Sun too. The planets are shown close together on these pages. Really, they are very, very far apart. As well as planets, there are lots of other things that move around the Sun, from specks of dust to dwarf planets like tiny Pluto. How it started. Scientists think that the solar system formed millions and millions years ago. It began as a huge cloud of gas and dust in space, like this one. As you can see, this cloud of dust looks like a nebula. The swirling cloud of gas and dust slowly got thicker and thicker. Part of the cloud heated up, making a hot ball of gas. This became the Sun as we know today. Over millions and millions of years, the gas and dust spun around the Sun. Gradually, the dust and gas joined together to make the solar system, or else the planets. In the middle, the Sun is a massive burning gas called a star. It gives the planets all their light and heat. Here, this is the Sun. You see, it is huge, and also it's very orange. The Sun looks so big because it's closer to Earth than any other stars. This is what its surface looks. You see, this is the surface. I'm trouble fixing the page. Some parts of the Sun are not as hot as the rest. These are called sunspots. As you can see, the Sun, even though it has some sunspots, it also has some very interesting things, such as solar flares, huge explosion in the Sun, and also these jets of hot gases plume back in long, long loops. But as you can see, if it hits Earth, it might cause some damage to the electricity. And I want to tell you a warning. Never look directly at the Sun. Its light is so strong that it can damage your eyes. I hope you don't want to get blind here. Moving planets. Each planet travels along its own path or orbit around the Sun. They take different lengths, of time to move all the way around. Earth takes 365 days and nights to orbit the sun. This is 1 year. As the planets travel, they also spin around. When each planet spins, different parts have day or night. Light from the sun only shines on one side of the earth at any time. As you can see, look, since the earth was one side was directly to the sun and one side directly to the back, which has no sun, so it makes day and night. Okay, let's take a tour about all planets. We start with, the smallest one, Mercury. Mercury is the planet closest to the sun. Its rocky surface it covers in holes called craters. Most of these were made by rocks crashing into the planet from space. Fast-moving rocks hit Mercury's surface, making deep holes like, this meteorite. And then, lots of pieces were thrown around by orbit, and it crashes into Mercury's surface. The rock and dust settled, and it became fixed and turned into a crater. Wow. In this photo, you can see the surface of Mercury has so many holes. And also, I forgot to warn you about its temperature on day and night. Yeah, the day was much hotter than Earth, and the night side was much more colder. The surface of Mercury is more than 4 times hotter than boiling water. That does sound good. Hot planet. Yeah. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. It is so hot because it's covered in a thick layer of clouds. This is the surface of Venus. The thick clouds make the sky look orange. Yeah, you can see. And I think the surface was solid, but it was more like lava. Yeah, the surface has so much volcanoes. The surface of the planet is hard rock. The sun's rays pass through the clouds and the planet's surface warms up. Then the clouds stop the heat from escaping, so the planet gets hotter and hotter. Venus is so hot that its surface glows in the dark. Living Earth. The Earth is made of rock and is surrounded by water and gases. It is the only planet where life is known to exist. The Earth has the right mixture of air, heat, and water for things to live. A layer of gases around the Earth gives living things the air they need to breathe. A lot of people said it was the atmosphere. And since the oxygen of the Earth was building up, it forms a layer. Everyone knows it. It was called the ozone layer. It protects the Earth from harmful rays coming from the sun. But the news in the southern pole wasn't good either. It was damaging. It was known, the ozone hole. As you can see in this photo, you can see this is a photo of Earth. It has mountains, lakes, water, and land. It also has a water tree. The sun warms the planet. Plants grow in sunlight, making food for animals. More than half of Earth is covered in water. Everything needs water to live. Bright at night, the moon is a big round lump of rock that moves around the Earth. It's the brightest thing you can see in the night sky. There are millions of craters on the moon. In this photo, the biggest craters look like dark patches. Here. As far as I can tell, when I looked at it, it looks like a bit like a rabbit. And since that means when the Earth was forming, the moon wasn't coming at the Earth. The Earth hit an explosion with another planet, and the debris came to form our moon. As the moon moves, the sun lights up different parts of its surface. This is why the moon seems to change shape. When the side facing the Earth is lit up, you can see the moon as a bright circle. Sometimes you can only see part of the side that is lit by the sun. When the sun shines behind the moon, you can't see the bright side, so it looks dark. In 1969, astronauts landed on the moon in a spacecraft. That is called the Apollo mission. The red planet. Mars is a cold and rocky planet. Its surface is covered in red dust. Scientists have sent vehicles called rovers to Mars and take photos on the surface. The rover was packed inside a spacecraft and flown from Earth to Mars. Airbags protect the spacecraft as it landed on the planet's surface. The spacecraft opened up and scientists sent signals to drive the rover out. The rovers drove around, sending information back to scientists on Earth. This is the surface of Mars was brought by a rover. And also, dust storms on Mars can last for months. Now, with the 4 planets we have covered, they were all called the terrestrial planets because, they're rocky. And now, we're coming to the final blow, the gas giants. Let's go. Jupiter is the biggest planet in the whole solar system. Its huge round mass made mostly of gases. The stripes, as you can see here, for different bands of gas. And you see this hole too. That's a great red spot. It's a storm that wasn't good either. It's the biggest storm. But it wasn't actually the biggest storm either. Jupiter has only 60 moons. Moving around it, all moons are made of rock and ice. See, it's not round like most moons. It will just look like an asteroid. As you can see, the icy surface of Europa was ice, but scientists discovered that inside has water. But it doesn't sound like Europe. Ganymede is the biggest moon in the solar system. It's bigger than Mercury. the ringed planet. Saturn is a huge planet made mostly of gases too. It has millions of pieces of rock and ice moving around it from far away. These look like solid rings. Here is Saturn. Look at the rings, but they're actually not rings. They're just, rocks and stuff. The photo was taken from a spacecraft that scientists sent to fly around Saturn. In 1997, 6 years after the Soviet Union died, maybe it broke, a rocket took off from Earth. It was controlled by computers. It was the start of the modern era, When the rocket was far above the Earth, a probe flew away from it. The probe reached Saturn and started to fly around the planet. It sent close-up pictures of Saturn and its rings back to Earth. Distant planets. Uranus and Neptune are huge gas giants. This is Uranus. It has faint rings around it made from millions of specks of dust. And also, fun fact, Uranus spins differently from the other planets because it looks like it has been knocked on its side. Neptune is a very cold and stormy planet. This is the great blue spot, the great dark spot. And that spot was also a storm, but much larger than one of Jupiter's. And also, these two planets are cousins. Exploring the sky, scientists find about the solar system by using huge telescopes that let them see things that are very far away. The telescopes shown here are in Hawaii, USA. They're big curved mirrors to make things that are far away look bigger, like here. There are some telescopes that travel the Earth in space. The scientists on Earth send signals to point the telescope at the planet, like this satellite, or maybe it's called the Hubble Space Telescope. The telescope takes pictures of the planet and stores it in a computer. The computer sends pictures as signals into huge radio dishes on Earth. The information is sent to computers that turn them into pictures of the planet. That was the end of the solar system. Thank you for all teachers, students, and anyone watching my video. Have a great day.